In today's world of market volatility and uncertainty, your retirement plans need to be front and center. With ever-changing tax laws, healthcare worries, and an unpredictable stock market, don't overlook the vulnerability in your retirement planning. Protecting your family and estate will be difficult with shifting policies in Washington. It's more important than ever to keep an eye on retirement.
Hi, and welcome into Eye on Retirement, the weekly show that keeps you in the know about all things retirement. I'm your host and financial advisor, Rick Everett, along with the full complement of panelists for this episode to include Financial Advisor Matt Goolsby with Market Advisory Group, one of our tax specialists with Market Tax Services, Tiffany Rayer, a Medicare advisor with Market Medicare Advisors, Cory Hiebert, and our estate planning attorney with Eidelman law firm, Gerald Eidelman. Welcome in, everyone. Matt, in an effort to keep viewers informed about all things retirement, you bring to the table yet another real-life story that happened around the conference tables of Market Advisory Group.
That's right. I want to talk to you guys this week about Rob and Bev. They came to us several years ago, and they've been working with us for a while now. But I want to go back to how they met us, because there was a really neat story there, and that's what we want to talk about this week. They came to one of our Social Security and tax classes, and if you guys want to ever go to any of our classes, you can go to our website, marketadvisorygroup.com, and at the top, there's a class tab there. Check out all the classes we offer. We'd love to see you at one of them. But when they came to this class, Rob had questions on when and how to take Social Security. He was confused about how the taxation implications of turning it on and how that works. The more other income you have, the more your Social Security becomes taxable. So through the course of really looking at Bev retiring soon, he had been retired for a while, they were looking at maybe should they start Social Security this year or next year. And through that conversation, there actually was a neat tax planning opportunity, and we'll get to that in a minute. But they had some annuities that he wanted me to review, and he'd set this up, and it was going to function like a private pension. And he said, well, did I do okay here? Is this all right? I said, well, Rob, one of the things I think you need to pay attention to here is if you pass away first, Rob, this is in your retirement account, your IRA, does this income payment that you set up like a private pension, does it continue for your wife, Bev? And he said, well, I think it does. So we called the company right there in our conference room, and turns out, no, actually, if something happened to Rob, the income would stop, and then there'd be even less money there. And Bev, there was a real big problem here. And he said, well, what do we do? And we helped them work through that and create a different income stream where it would continue over both their lifetimes in retirement. But really, I think the neat thing here was the tax planning opportunity that came up. And Tiffany, one of our tax advisors, she can talk about that.
Tiffany, share with us, if you would, a little bit about the tax situation that was going on with Rob and Bev.
Well, this is one of the opportunities that I think when timing is so imperative, because Rob and Bev were at a point where they were ready. They had also done a really great job in saving. So they had about $1 million in IRA retirement assets that we were able to structure with them being at the lowest bracket because they'd been living off of their savings. We were able to use the standard deduction and the fill up the 10% and the 12% bracket with those Roth conversions, which are really popular right now, considering that the tax rates are going to go up in 2026.
So Cory, with Bev in the process of getting ready to retire, how did you interact with this couple?
Yeah, well, this was a very interesting situation because we're dealing with Pat, who's already been retired. He has his Medicare set up.
Rob.
And
you called him Pat. Rob.
Rob is already retired. He already has his Medicare. And for their entire working relationship, Bev has always just done exactly what it is Rob did. And then whenever he retired, she just carried on with her group insurance. So as Medicare is approaching, Bev has the understanding that I'm just going to do exactly what my husband did. And for some people, that is an okay decision. That's actually very uncommon that it is an okay decision because everyone has a very different circumstance. Now, the catch-22 with this one was that he was a veteran. And whenever we do have a veteran dealing with Medicare benefits, that's a little different than what we would do with a traditional retired person or person starting Medicare. So the options that were available to Rob were a lot different than what was available to Bev. So we had to actually completely break down Medicare because she had a lot more learning to do than she had originally anticipated. Whenever we do talk about veterans, they have access to things like the VA for their medical care and the VA for their prescription drugs. And that's really where the biggest difference is she can't go to the VA. Now, sometimes you will see a veteran that has TRICARE that will extend to family members, which does, again, change that conversation. But in this case, he was not a TRICARE beneficiary, so only he had access to the VA, and now we have to completely plan for just private insurance with Bev.
So Matt, with Rob and Bev, I'm going to go out on a limb here and suppose that there may be an estate planning component to this story, as is 90% of the time the case with people we meet with.
You know, that is so true. And, you know, the situation here is I'm not licensed attorney. I can't give estate planning advice. And when that comes up, I go down the hall and I grab Gerald and bring him in and continue that conversation in real time there.
Gerald, with Rob and Bev, what were their estate planning needs as you were able to assess?
Well, one of the things we tried to do was be able to protect their home. They have a sizable price home, and it was paid off. So if you require Medicaid, and especially if you're the survivor of the couple, they would look at your assets. And if you have more than $2,000 of assets, at that point you had to spend it before Medicaid kicks in, which can mean that you can wipe out a lifetime's savings in a very short time. So we wanted to protect her house because we knew that was they're not going to move, that they've been there for 20 years, and it was a sizable amount of money. We couldn't move the retirement accounts because if you do that, then you cash them and then you pay taxes. But we could move the house into the special trust. Now, I have heard many people tell me that they've been advised to put property in revocable trust as a way to protect from Medicaid. And I have to convince them that that's not the case. The reality is that if you have a regular revocable living trust and you put a house in there, or any asset in there, there's no creditor protection, Medicaid protection of any sort. It's really more of a vehicle to pass property. But so in order to qualify this house to protect it from Medicaid, we had to do an irrevocable trust. And that required quite a bit of work on their part to work with me to create the trust that would better save them and protect their part of their assets.
So again, in an effort to just come in and find out a little bit of information from a workshop that spurred the interest, you were able to help them in a lot of different scenarios.
Some of the scenarios they weren't even aware of themselves that they had. And that's, again, the beauty of being able to grab any of these resources or professionals here, walk them down the hall into the conference room and continue that conversation in real time. Because if you can't do that, I mean, face it, maybe some people have an estate plan. How old is it though? Have they ever had it reviewed with the estate planning attorney and their financial advisor in the same room? Have they asked about tax consequences to their estate plan? Most financial advisors and attorneys, they don't give tax advice, so do they have their CPA in there with it? All these different things can happen, and because we work together, we can recognize opportunities and help people plan for that.
Planning for retirement on your own is kind of like playing football without any teammates. There are just too many factors which, left unaddressed, could work against you to be able to drive down the field and score a comfortable retirement. If you'd like to set up a complimentary, no-obligation consultation with our team of retirement professionals, operators are standing by right now to take your call at 316-252-8707. Again, the number to call, 316-252-8707. And be sure and check out our website at ionretirement.com. We'll be back with more Ion Retirement right after this.
Out on the water, there is a moment. Perfect synchronization. The team working together in harmony to reach their goal. Now, imagine finding a team of financial professionals to help run your course down the river of retirement. Market Advisory Group is that team. Financial advisors, tax professionals, estate planning attorneys, and Medicare advisors. All in the same boat. If you don't have a team like this in one place, it can become a hassle to relay information between them. When you come to Market Advisory Group, we bring everyone together for you. To get you answers in real time. To help make sure you don't miss something that puts your unique plan off course. You shouldn't be the one doing all the work to keep your retirement on pace. You should have a team in the boat with you. Your voice telling them where you're at, where you'd like to end up, and how you want to get there. And at that point, everyone falls into sync, all pulling in the same direction, toward the same purpose. Your retirement's financial security. We are Market Advisory Group, proud sponsor of Shocker Rowing.
Hi, and welcome back into the show. In our prior segment, we shared about a couple who came to us after attending one of our workshops throughout the community. And we ended up helping them to not only put the balls in motion to increase their tax-free retirement distributions for the future, but also assisted them in protecting their assets in the event of one of them going on Medicare, and helped them with finding the right Medicare plan for their unique healthcare scenario. Matt, the next story illustrates how our team was able to help when life throws someone a curveball.
That's right. And the second story I want to talk to everyone this week about was Karen. And Karen was, she actually came to one of our classes. I think it was a Social Security class, if I'm recalling correctly. But she was recently laid off from her job. And she wasn't quite ready to start taking Social Security yet. She was just more fact-finding and learning about, the rules and different techniques. But she came to start working with me because she was being laid off, and she wanted a sounding board for her investments. And looking through those things, we started working together. And after about a year goes by, her aunt starts, her aunt's health is failing on her. And she goes, well, I need to really move back east and take care of my aunt. Can I still keep working with you, Matt? And I said, oh, absolutely, Karen. You've been a great person to work with. And I've known Karen now for years. But as she moved back east to Virginia to take care of her failing aunt, she was worried about her own situation, looking at things like that. And so her aunt recently passed this year, and now she only has a sole sister as a family member. She has no children of her own. Her parents are gone, her aunt now has passed. And she's thinking, well, who do I leave all my assets to? And she works closely with a nonprofit there in Virginia. And Karen had been contemplating leaving her house as a donation to this nonprofit or this charity. And while she was here, she actually came back and visited us here, and she was meeting with us. Tiffany had a great idea, and I want Tiffany to share about that because there was some really interesting things that happened in the conference room as a result of this light bulb going off with Tiffany in this moment.
Tiffany, share with us how you were able to help in this situation.
Yeah, well, first of all, Karen has a wonderful, generous spirit. And through the years, we've always watched her give pretty sizable donations every year. With this inheritance money that she received, we were doing some tax strategy planning on conversions. But knowing that she wanted to possibly donate her house to a charity that was really close to her heart gave us a chance to take advantage of the charitable contribution deduction, which it was really advantageous for her to possibly put it into a charitable trust the year that this inheritance money came in. That way we were able to offset the tax liability from the taxable portion of the inheritance that she received. There are limitations. There's a 30% AGI limitation to that. So knowing that, we were also able to structure the Roth conversions in a way that we maximized that contribution. So
I understood some of the things she was saying. Did you?
AGI, I was right all over that one. Now, it's not often that you think of integrating an estate planning attorney with a charitable contribution, but that, in fact, Gerald, was the case in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, you have to have an attorney when you're trying to create what Tiffany was described as a charitable trust. There's got to be a ruling document, and you have to be able to express in that document who will be in charge of distributing, how the amounts will be distributed. And so having an estate planning attorney in-house makes it incredibly easy for her to take an idea that was related to getting tax deductions, and we could make that idea actually possible by creating a special trust for them, charitable trust. And this is a wonderful way for people who have nobody to really leave their assets, that have a lot of appreciated property, because when you contribute an asset to a charitable trust, you can then sell it inside the trust and recognize no gain. And so it's a wonderful tool to be able to pass as much money to the charity as possible. In some cases, remain with a fixed income that comes to you during your lifetime, depending on how you set it up, and the ability to leave something for the charity and create something for the charity.
I want to reiterate something here that we're talking about, but it's not as clear. Karen, her intent was to bless this charity that was so close and near and dear to her heart. But as her advisor, I recognized that this was a tax opportunity for her that she could capitalize on and do a massive Roth conversion. I mean, like $200,000 plus, almost for, I say free, because of giving the house to the charity. Mm-hmm. It didn't cost her anything to do this. It was a benefit there. And I couldn't have done that for Karen had I not had Tiffany or Gerald or any of these members of these team working together. And Karen was elated. She goes, this is why I'm working here. This is why I come to this team, because you guys can think outside the box and you guys can maximize the situation for my benefit.
Now, we talked at the beginning of the segment about an example of where life throws you a curveball. Now, does this throw a curveball as far as Medicare coverage goes when you're moving unexpectedly from one state to another?
Yeah, absolutely, to an extent. So with Karen's situation, there are three main types of plans we talk about whenever we talk about Medicare planning. We're either going with a Medicare supplement and a prescription drug plan, or we're going to talk about a Medicare Advantage plan. So for Karen's situation, we're looking at a Medicare supplement and a prescription drug plan. Now, one of the very nice things about her moving is the Medicare supplement is going to travel with her. The supplemental coverages that are available nationwide. So she doesn't have to do anything to mess with the supplement. Now, whenever we talk about Medicare prescription drug plans or Medicare Advantage plans, it is extremely important to be aware of those as we're moving, because those plans are zip code based. Whenever we talk about prescription drug plans, you're going to deal with networks of pharmacies. And whenever we talk about Medicare Advantage plans, you're going to deal with networks of doctors. Now, the networks available in your zip code are going to be a little bit different than networks available in other zip codes. So traditionally we say you have one opportunity to change your plans, and that's during the open enrollment period, October 15th through December 7th. However, there are several special exceptions to that, and one of those happens to be moving. So in Karen's situation, we have 90 days to make a decision after she moves in order to get a plan that fits that zip code.
Another example of the whole team coming together for the benefit of one person. And one of the things we sometimes see in our conference room with prospective clients is decision paralysis or paralysis through analysis. When planning for retirement, there are a lot of important decisions to make and options to choose from, as well as pitfalls to avoid. When it comes to making those important decisions, wouldn't you feel more confident having an entire team of professionals at your disposal to address the benefits or pitfalls of each potential strategy? Market Advisory Group is that team, and telephone staff are standing by as we speak to take your call for a complimentary, no-obligation consultation at 316-252-8707. We'll be back with the final segment of the show right after this.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no-obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no-obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back into Eye on Retirement. In the prior two segments, we shared with you real-life stories that unfolded around the conference tables of Market Advisory Group. Some of our clients come to us just like you from seeing our show over the airwaves weekly. Some come to us from one of our many retirement workshops we regularly put on throughout the community, and many come to us by word of mouth from people we're already helping with retirement planning. Our panelists on this show all represent different parts of retirement planning. Matt and I are financial advisors. Tiffany is a tax advisor that keeps us up to date on the tax codes so clients aren't hit with surprise tax bills. Cory counsels clients when they reach Medicare age and beyond, and Gerald focuses on protecting clients' assets or estates when they need it most. We all have these different areas we specialize in, but we come together as Market Advisory Group for the express purpose of helping clients with all their retirement needs.
That's so true, Rick. And, you know, working together as this team, a lot of the people we see, they're either frustrated that they're not getting answers from the people they're working with. They're maybe anxious with what's going on in the economy, interest rates, inflation, market volatility. Maybe they're confused on when to take Social Security. All these things we can help people with under one roof, and helping them get answers before they make a decision helps them have a more confidence. I mean, think about this. When you are in a situation and you don't know something, do you make decisions very well?
I suffer from paralysis through analysis, just like we had talked about earlier.
And, you know, when you're working with a financial advisor, if they're giving you tax advice, I would be very concerned if they're not licensed to give tax advice, because the tax code changes. That's why we have everyone here that has their own lane, but we can bring them all in to work together to help people get information before they make a decision. That could maybe cost them thousands of dollars in retirement.
And as the end of the year draws more close, Matt, some of the things to keep in mind are tax planning, Roth conversions.
Absolutely. We bring in the fourth quarter of the year, October, November, December, we bring in our tax team, and in a way, we almost practice doing their tax return. We'll say, you know, how much income have you had? How's it changed from last year? And like Tiffany mentioned, we look at those tax brackets and we call them buckets, And if you haven't filled it all up, we want to make sure you're maximizing your tax brackets or buckets because the taxes will be going up starting in the year 2026.
All of the Trump-era tax cuts that we're experiencing right now are going to go away. And there's going to be a change also in conjunction with that, the standard deduction as well, correct?
That's right. It's going to almost be probably cut in half because it's quite sizable right now. And if you're not taking advantage of this, if you're not looking at it in the fourth dimensional way, yes, the investments are important. Yes, your taxes are of the utmost importance. Yes, your Medicare decisions are, and yes, of course, your estate plan. But if you're not looking at them all together and making decisions and guiding them together, it could cost you, if not it's maybe already costing you already, but it could cost you thousands of dollars in the future. And we want to make sure we're helping you with that in advance.
An entire team coming together to benefit you for an effective plan in retirement. A holistic approach to retirement planning, from the financial aspects to tax planning, estate planning, and Medicare guidance. At Market Advisory Group, we bring the whole team together under one roof for your convenience. And if you'd like to set up a complimentary, no-obligation consultation, operators are standing by right now to take your call at 316-252-8707. That's all the time we have for this episode. Until next time, I'm Rick Everett, along with the whole team, reminding you that we're here to keep an eye on retirement.
All client names have been changed to protect their identities. Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns are not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in the states where it is registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by security regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. Legal services are offered by Eidelman Law Firm. Tax services offered by Market Tax Services. Market Advisory Group does not provide legal or tax advice. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not in any way refer to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing insurance company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. The guest commentators featured in this show are not investment advisor representatives of Foundations and do not provide advisory services. Market Advisory Group does have several investment advisor representatives that can provide such services. This is not endorsed or affiliated with any U.S. government agency, the Social Security Administration, or associated with any federal Medicare program. We do not offer every plan available in your area. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. A Roth conversion may not be suitable for your situation. The primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. The information provided is to help you determine whether or not a Roth IRA conversion may be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Please review your retirement savings, tax, and legacy planning strategies with your legal/tax advisor to be sure a Roth IRA conversion fits into your planning strategies. All rights reserved.